Hello, everyone, and welcome to the presentation. My name is Marie Smollett, and I'm the Assistant Director for FAMU's Career and Professional Development Center. And today's workshop is going to be talking about your statement of purpose. You're also going to include with this workshop a link to a sheet that's going to have a lot of different activities that we're going to do today during this workshop. And it's also going to have a place where it's going to summarize pretty much what we're going to talk about today. So let's go ahead and get started. So the benefits of your statement of purpose is really to just be a way that you communicate with the person that's viewing your application for graduate school, some a little bit further than what was a part of your application. This is your way to really set yourself apart and really give them a sense of who you are. There's a lot of people that's going to be applying for these graduate programs, and you have to really pull out what's going to be unique about you. This might be their only way or their only deciding factor to determine if they're going to choose you for their program. I know for the program that I was a part of, we had what's called a cohort model, meaning there was only so many students that could be a part of our program at one time. And so during this, I wanted to make sure that I communicated with the person that was reading my statement why I would be the best fit for their program, because I may have had a lot of similarities with the other people that was applying, but I really want to pull out what was going to be unique about me and what really set myself apart from the other people that were applying. So there are some general rules when it comes to writing your statement of purpose. The first thing is, I know it seems elementary, but read the directions and also follow the directions that you read. Sometimes when you're applying for these graduate programs, they may have a general statement that they want you to address. Within this statement of purpose, it could be where they give you a question prompt, or they have very specific things that they want to know within this statement. Also, think about that. Is there, if you're applying for a school, as far as you're going to be public relations, there might be additional documents that they want you to submit as well. Or there may be just a scenario situation that they want to address, just to see how your mind works and how you process information. But along with this, that when you're submitting this, understand your audience. I always like giving the example of when I had a student that they were very passionate about the program that they're applying for, because they were wanting to go back and bring this to their community. So there was a lot of different language that they used that were only been very comfortable for a certain demographic of people. And so I had to make sure that that student understood who was going to read this. How are they going to feel when they read this? Are they going to get offended by what you're saying? Or are they going to really understand because you really got your point across without offending someone? So really understand the audience that you're working with. Also keep in mind some of these committees for the graduate programs may be people that's throughout the entire university. So don't automatically assume that when you use abbreviations or certain terms that the reader will know what you're talking about. So really look and dive deep into how you're explaining this statement. Okay. So as you start to craft this statement, or basically crafting what some people call your essay, there's a lot of different things that you need to think about. There's going to be a lot of reflection that we're going to do within this exercise, because you're really thinking about what's unique, why are you really wanting to further your education and get this graduate degree? So that starts by understanding yourself. If you don't understand yourself, how do you expect someone else to understand you? So really think about that. How are you going to really communicate the experiences that you've had that really brought you to this point in your academic career? And really just develop a theme to make all of that really come together. So with that, we're actually going to go ahead and start with our first activity. So go ahead and pull out your statement of purpose worksheet, or I'm going to make sure I slide it over to the screen right now. But this first activity is really about understanding yourself. So with understanding yourself, who are you? What makes you special? What makes you unique? What drives you and motivates you? What are your interests? What are you passionate about? And my personal favorite, what do you want your legacy to be? So really start to think and reflect on that. With that, we're going to do what's called our 7-word biographies. So with that, I'm going to go ahead. Let me slide this over so that you can see. Okay. So this is a worksheet that I said that's attached with this presentation. This is, we're doing the bibliography piece to it, this exercise number 1, understanding yourself. So with this section, there's 7 lines on there. So think of 7 words. It could be phrases, it can be words that really describes you. It's that whole thing of, I said, what makes you special? What are some words? For example, I know that I'm very talkative, or I love to explore or problem solve. So that might be some words that I will use in the bibliography that describes myself. So what about for you? What are 7 words? Okay. All right. And of course, you can pause this video at any time if you need a little extra time to think about your 7 words that really describe who you are. And I'm going to let you know why we're doing that in just one moment. So some words that some people have used within these 7 words has been family, because that really describes them. Resilient is some words that some people have used to describe them. Friendly, approachable, outside of the box, because like I said, it could be a phrase. So how is this going to be perfect for as you craft your statement of purpose? Because this is why. I know sometimes it can be difficult when you're trying to really think about what words do I use throughout the statement. It seems as if you're repeating yourself a lot. So you're going to use these 7 words to help be the placeholder to help describe things that you're trying to explain. There's this awesome thing that when you go into Microsoft Word or whatever program you're using to create this document, usually when you right click it, it has this thing called synonyms. I know, it sounds simple, right? So with those synonyms, it's going to show you different variations of those words that you've chosen. I want to see this throughout your entire statement. That way that when you're saying things, it's going to be something unique to you. It's going to also start crafting that common theme that we're wanting to have. Because like I said, with this statement, you're just really explaining who you are to the person that's reading it so that you can get admitted into graduate school, but you also want to make sure that you highlight the things that are unique to you. All right, so we're actually going to go straight into our next activity. Along that worksheet that you have, there's a part right there when it talks about communicating your experience. So let's think about it. What are some unique things that happen within your life or that's currently going on right now that's kind of gotten you to this point? So think about what are some moments that you're most proud of? What is a time that you failed but gained so much out of that experience? Or as we like to say, failing forward. Another thing is, do you ever have something that's been negative that you really changed that around into something being positive? So as I was talking about resilience earlier, something that you've overcome, or just something that you think is a unique skill that you have that you want to offer. So really, what's gotten you to this point into applying for graduate school? So we're going to call this 2 truths and a dream. So on the worksheet that was provided for you, I'm going to pull that back over for you. That's this exercise right here, communicating your experiences. Go ahead on a sheet of paper, or if you've printed that out, write out what are some experiences that's really gotten you to this point that you want to include into your statement of purpose. You may pause this presentation at any point if you need more time to write. So the thing about doing this is that once you've gathered this, like you've already done the biography, you've thought about all of the words that really describe you, as well as you've thought about two things that make you unique. And then, of course, like I said, that dream, like what are you ultimately wanting to do with this degree? So how are you going to use it? Are you going to take this back to your community? Are you an international student? You're taking this back to your home country in order to create change. What are you going to do with this? So now that you've gotten this, all of these experiences, it's now time to really just craft that and hone that and how you're going to include that into your actual statement. So with that, we really need to create a theme. It's like, how are we going to put this all together? So think of a book. With a book, it has a theme that goes straight throughout. It could be a series, it could be hilarious, it could be very descriptive. It can even be to where you're really telling your story. You're telling on how you overcame, how you became a student here at Florida Agricultural and Mechanical University, and how you're going to further that education and get an advanced degree so that you can change the world. Maybe you're going to be the next Oprah. So really craft that. Like, what is the tone that you want to set for this? How are you going to capture the reader's attention is really what you're trying to think about right now. So to help you really figure that out, of course, as you can guess, we're going to do another activity. I like calling this activity, What's Your Hook? What this basically means is that usually when you hear a song, there's that chorus or there's that hook of that song that you remember. You may not remember all of the words of the song, but you remember the hook. So with your statement of purpose, what is your hook? What is that one unique thing, or what is that real powerful moment or experience that you've had that they're really going to remember? And think about that. On the worksheet that I've given you, there is a place on there for exercise 3 to actually put that theme out and to describe your hook. Keep in mind your hook could be a quote. My quote is, do unto others as you will have them do unto you. That's how I base my philosophy in life, how I base my philosophy in my career, and why I'm in the career that I am right now at DMU is because I really want to make sure I create that experience that the students know that if it was me in the situation, that's how I would want to be helped. So what's your hook? What's something that's unique about you that's really going to be the theme of the statement that you're trying to create? As I mentioned before, you can always pause this video to give yourself more time to think. All right. So now that you've done the activity where you have your biography, you have all the words that you want to use for your statement of purpose. You've thought of the experiences that you want to include in this statement of purpose. You have the theme of how you're wrapping all of that together. Now it's time to actually start crafting that statement. So within that statement, of course, you will have your introduction, but the big part about it is the body of it. Like you develop that theme, you're going to start to highlight the details. What are those experiences that you wrote down that you thought about? Make sure you put that information in there. But the thing about it, it has to transition. With that transition, make sure that you really talk about some key things that are in the programs that you're looking for. So with that, I mean research. What programs are you looking to apply to? Look at their mission statement. Look at their values. Look at the things and the activities that they will offer you once you're accepted into that program and relate that back to the experiences that you have. Make sure that you highlight that in the details of writing the body of that statement. Make sure that when you're applying for the different programs, like I mentioned at the beginning, that you look for any directions that they have. There might be a character word limit that you have when submitting this statement. Make sure that you keep that in mind and how you're crafting it. Or it could be a platform where you're applying to multiple graduate schools at the same time. Make sure that you keep that in mind when you're crafting your statement to make sure that you don't have anything specific to a specific university when you know that you're sending it to multiple universities. With anything, make sure you also have a conclusion. Sometimes when we're writing these statements of purposes, we have pretty much the introduction and the body, but we leave off the conclusion. Think about how are you going to readdress what you're trying to do. Make sure that you're bringing it back full circle. This is a great place when we did those 2 truths and a dream. This is a great place to put that dream. Like, what are your future plans? Like, how are you going to utilize this degree in your future career? That's where you put all of that really in the conclusion. And you're really making sure you keep in mind, why should they choose you? That's what should be in that conclusion of your statement. So there was 2 pages when it came to that worksheet that was provided for you. And this was what really is going to break it down. That first paragraph, like I said, is going to be the introduction. You started that theme, who are you? The second paragraph can actually be combined with the second and third paragraph. It's like, why are you interested in the program? You really told them about the experiences that you've had and how you've gotten to this point. And of course, like I said, why should they choose you? And in that fourth paragraph, you really just saying, like I mentioned, what are your future plans? So the final points for this presentation is really thinking about just following the directions. Just read it. See what all that they're looking for. Make sure that you spell check and you grammar check. When we're looking at these documents for a long period of time, it's really easy that we overlook small spellings as well as they may have spell checked into different words. So really just look at that. Another great resource that you can utilize is our Writing Center. Just look up their contact information on FAMU's website and email them, and you can set up an appointment to meet with someone, either in person or virtually, so that they can go ahead and just look over the statement of purpose and look at all of those grammatical errors that may be. Another thing that I want to make sure I reiterate is really developing a theme. Make sure that it flows. Just like reading a book or giving a presentation, make sure one thing transitions into the next. And it's not a lot of independent statements that you just have listed together in your statement of purpose. Make sure that your essay reflects you. It's easy to tell when you've had someone else to write your essay or you're saying what you think that they want to hear. No, just make sure that you're true to yourself. Avoid any cliches or common phrases that can be used when you're applying, because I know a lot of people Google statements of purpose for their particular program. And just like you're Googling that or you're researching that, a lot of other students are doing that as well. So like I said before, make sure it's something that's unique to you and it really reflects you. Just like when we looked at the biographies, find and replace. See different ways that you can rephrase the statements that you're saying. Be aware of the tone, which goes along with knowing your audience. Make sure that if you have any questions regarding any of this, that you contact us at FAMU's Career and Professional Development Center. You can email us at careercenter@famu.edu, or you can also make an appointment through our Handshake system. Handshake is also known as Hire a Rattler, and you can find the link to sign up for appointments by going to famu.edu/career center. You can also find it on all of our social media platforms. That's Instagram and Twitter. And our name on Instagram and Twitter is @HireARattler_. But again, my name is Marie Smallwood, and I want to thank you for listening to this presentation. And like I said before, if you have any questions, please reach out to us by emailing us at careercenter@famu.edu, or also make an appointment via Handshake, that you can find the link to that at famu.edu/career center. Thank you and enjoy the rest of your day.